Bringing you the latest news from around the world, and here at home, I'm Sandro Ferdinando.
And I'm Mazra Hassan. Let's start off with a look at your headlines for tonight.
The Working Committee unanimously names Sajith Premadasa as the presidential candidate of the United National Party. CID launches an investigation into Gotabaya Rajapaksa's involvement in politics in Sri Lanka while being a US citizen. Railway strike action continues. Daily activities of many disrupted. Teachers on sick leave tomorrow as well. Ministry of Finance to increase salaries of state employees from January 2020.
On to our lead story now. Deputy Leader of the United National Party, Minister Sajith Premadasa, was named as the presidential candidate of the UNP. The decision was made when the Working Committee convened this evening.
The Working Committee of the United National Party convened to name the presidential candidate at 3 p.m. at the Sirikota Party headquarters today. The meeting was chaired by leader of the party, Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe. Party leader Ranil Wickremesinghe named Sajith Premadasa as the presidential candidate of the party in this manner. We are committed to bringing forth an era where all people can benefit from the fruits of progress, prosperity and development, and to bring about an era where humane values reign supreme within a unitary Sri Lanka. There is a process of democratic reforms that was initiated by the United National Front government since 2015. We hope to continue this process of democratic reforms while consulting all relevant stakeholders. We are also committed to carrying out reforms on the devolution of power within a unitary Sri Lanka and on reforming the electoral system and presidency with consultation of all the relevant stakeholders.
සියලුම පාර්ශ්වයන්ගේ සහයෝගයේ අනුමැතිය සහිතව ඉදිරියට ක්‍රියාත්මක කරන්නට සැදී පැහැදී සිටිනවා. අපේක්ෂකත්වයේ ලබා දෙන්නේ මොනවාරි කොන්දේසි ඉදිරිපත් වුණාද? කිසිම කොන්දේසියක් නැහැ.
There were no conditions whatsoever. No conditions were put forward and no conditions will be entertained. Those who know me know that such conditions cannot be put forward.
වෙන්නෙත් නැහැ. මම මාව හොඳට දන්න කට්ටිය දන්නවා. ඉතින් කොන්දේසි ඉදිරිපත් කළා ඒව හරියන්නේ නැහැ.
ජනාධිපති වුණාම පස්සේ අගමැතිතුමේ පක්ෂ නායකත්වයේ වෙනස් වීම.
මෙහෙමයි දැන් මේ
The question right now is regarding the presidency. I do not want to make predictions on what will happen after the presidency is won. What was discussed today was the candidacy for the presidency. The leader of the UNP continues to function in his position as party leader and prime minister. This election is not a vote on him.
ජාතික පක්ෂයේ නායකතුමා හැටියට අග්‍රාමාත්‍යතුමා ඒ තනතුරේ ක්‍රියාත්මක වෙනවා. මේක මේ එතුමා පිළිබඳ තියෙන ඡන්දයක් නෙවෙයි.
අපි සතුටින් කියන්න ඕනේ.
We are very happy to announce today that Honorable Sajith Premadasa was elected as the presidential candidate of the party by the Working Committee and the Parliamentary Group. It was also decided that Honorable Ranil Wickremesinghe will continue as party leader and Prime Minister. We are hopeful that Honorable Sajith Premadasa will record a historic victory and will work towards achieving that goal from today through our campaign. We have also decided to convene all organizers of the United National Front on the 30th of September, while our party convention will be held on the 3rd of October. The convention will commence at 10 a.m. on the 3rd at the Sugathadasa Indoor Stadium. We are also hoping to bring vast crowds of people into Colombo and flood the Golface Green by holding a public rally on the 10th of October.
ලක්ෂ සංඛ්‍යාත ජනතාවක් කොළඹ ගෝල්ෆේස් පිටියට ගෙනල්ලා මේ සටන අපි ආරම්භ කරන්න. සමහර අය හිතුවේ
Many people thought the UNP would crumble and divide into several parts. We made a unanimous decision to appoint the person requested by the people as our presidential candidate after much discussion. This is the first victory of this nation. Our opponents boast of reducing inequality while the leader of the party sits in a higher chair than the rest of them. Yet they ask the people for the power to govern the country. We have given our example to the nation before the campaign starts. That is the way of the UNP. The road has always been difficult for us because we speak the truth. We do not hide anything from the general public. Our intentions have been made clear. We do not hoodwink the people. Therefore, this is a victory for the entire nation.
ප්‍රතිපත්තිය පැහැදිලිව කිව්වා. අපි වංගු දාලා වැඩ කරේ නෑ. ඒ නිසා මේක මේ රටටම ජයග්‍රහණයක්.
This is the manner in which the people gathered outside Sirikota party headquarters after Sajith Premadasa was announced as a UNP presidential candidate. People living across the island celebrated the nomination of Sajith Premadasa as the presidential candidate of the United National Party.
Sajith Premadasa is the only son of the late Ranasinghe Premadasa, who was the second executive president of Sri Lanka. Sajith Premadasa began his political career in the 1990s from the rural district of Hambantota. In the year 2000, Sajith Premadasa entered parliament, amassing the highest number of votes in Hambantota and the highest preferential vote percentage in the entire country. He was appointed as the Deputy Minister of Health in the year 2001 and also rendered his services to the people as a Member of Parliament. After being appointed the Minister of Housing and Construction in the present government, he revived the Udagammana concept initially introduced by his father. Through the Udagammana concept, he has succeeded in providing more than 288 villages for the people. In order to further the constitutional duty of safeguarding Buddhism, Premadasa also initiated the Sasunata Aruna, Vevai Dagabai, Gamai Pansalai programs. As Minister of Cultural Affairs, Premadasa rendered yeoman services to all communities in the country, demonstrating a capacity to celebrate the diversity of the country while safeguarding its identity. However, as a result of the sycophancy of several members within his own party, his candidacy to contest for the upcoming presidential election was not confirmed even after the date for the presidential election was announced.
He is the deputy leader. The speaker is also a skilled leader. We will look after our own problems. Don't worry about it. Currently, the Prime Minister will contest as the party leader. We will not betray the country or the party because of the haste of one or two people. We will put forward a candidate who will win, and not just any candidate.
This was Premadasa's response to the multitude of obstacles that were put in his way. Meanwhile, the National Business Convention of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna was held in Colombo today.
The event commenced with the arrival of SLPP presidential candidate at the Sri Lanka Exhibition and Convention Centre.
The lowest economic growth was recorded this year since 2001. It is even lesser than Afghanistan. The government has burdened businessmen with taxes. We have drafted the economic management program of the future government. When we construct Hambantota, we have a specific plan in place. We were planning to make it a trade hub. We obtained loans based on that plan. We will be able to establish 2 service organizations around Katunayaka and Mattala airports and Colombo and Hambantota ports.
The Seva Sapayun Madhyasthana dekak apita pihituwannata puluwan wenawa.
Thereafter, the leader of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna, Mahinda Rajapaksa, attended the convention.
During our time for 10 years, we paid an extra amount of 26 rupees for the dollar. But the government of good governance has been spending an extra amount of 51 rupees for the past 4.5 years. Because of the central bank bond scam, the interest rates skyrocketed. I know how 4 businessmen in Fort Colombo committed suicide.
The Ministry of Finance has taken steps to increase the minimum salary level by 3,000 rupees and maximum salary level by 24,000 rupees for the public sector employees from the month of January next year. Now, issuing a communique, the Finance Ministry said that the decision was taken based on the recommendations of the report given by the Special Salary Commission, which is appointed by the President.
According to the Ministry of Finance, following a salary increment will put an end to disparities that were prevailed in the different salary levels of the public sector. It further urged that this will completely address the disparities in the salary levels of the employees in both railway and postal services. In order to resolve the disparities in the salary levels of the railway sector, a new salary code named TL has been introduced for the officials in operations and supervising of the railway technical services. Initial salary of the TL salary code has been set up to rupees 36,095. Moreover, Ministry of Finance stated that rupees 34,415 have been set up as the initial salary of an assistant driver of the MT1 salary scale. According to this amendment, initial salary of a primary level public sector employee, which was at rupees 11,730 in 2015, will be raised up to rupees 24,250 by 2020. The ministry further stated that this salary, which is at rupees 27,250, will rise by rupees 3,000 further as to the recommendations that were given by the Special Salary Commission's report. The ministry stated that overtime payments of the overall 1,100,000 public sector employees will also rise with considering to the salary increment. Railway employees
launched a strike action from midnight yesterday, citing several demands.
The general public was severely inconvenienced due to the strike action launched by railway trade unions. They launched the strike action citing several demands, including salary anomalies. Trade unions of railway masters, drivers, controllers and regulators joined the strike action. General Manager of Railways Dilantha Fernando said 6 of his trains operated from Chilla, Galle, Kandy and Kurunegala to Fort. The General Manager of Railways said other of his trains did not operate from the Fort railway station in Colombo this morning. There are so many people in the stations with no food to eat and no water to drink. They don't even have the money to go by bus. They get the season ticket with the greatest difficulty. People are severely inconvenienced by this. If they have any issues or any demands to be met, they should solve it with the government. Don't drag these innocent people into this. This is very unfair. It is not just us. There are so many here. They should not increase the salaries even by a cent. In fact, their salaries should be deducted. All postal trains scheduled to operate this evening were also cancelled. This was the situation in many railway stations in the island. The strike action launched by the university non-academic staff continued for the 17th consecutive day today. Media Secretary of the University Trade Union Joint Committee Saman Karyavasam said the strike action will be in effect until solutions are provided for these issues. Meanwhile, the strike action launched by the Government Service Executive Officers Association entered its second day today.
Now, the Teachers and Principals Trade Union also launched a strike action, a sick note campaign today, and the group staged a protest in Colombo.
The protest that commenced in Fort Colombo was joined by Ceylon Teachers Union, Ceylon Teachers Service Union and several other teachers' unions. The trade union actions is based on several demands, including the issue of salary anomalies. The protesters progressed on the Lotus Road with the aim of reaching the Presidential Secretariat, but was barred from it. In the end, few representatives of the protesters were allowed to enter the premises of the Presidential Secretariat. The protesters remained on the road for around an hour until the group returned back.
The senior police officials promised us that we will be given the opportunity to meet with the President's Secretary, but we met with the Additional Secretary. That discussion was a failure. If we do not get a solution from the Secretary to the President within the course of next week, we will have to go for a 5-day trade union action. 98% of the teachers in Sri Lanka reported sick and joined this protest today. In today's discussion, we were told that we cannot be given a confirmed date to meet with the Secretary to the President. We are not going to wait until a date is given to us. We will shut down the entire education system tomorrow.
Meanwhile, Teacher Principals Trade Union also engaged in trade union action by applying for sick leave, disrupting the academic activities. Our correspondent stated that most parents who brought their children to school took them back home as academic activities did not take place. This situation was also seen across the northern and eastern areas. This is how the teachers applied for their sick leave at post offices.
Today, State Minister Ashok Abesinghe expressed his opinion regarding the railway strike after convening a media briefing at the Ministry of Transport and Civil Aviation in Bathramulla.
A railway trade union of the Railway Department issuing a media release informed that they will carry out a strike from midnight onwards. However, they have not informed in writing neither to the Railway Department, Railway General Manager nor to the Ministry. I find this a complete disregard to the trade union program. It's against ethics. Their increment has been made. Minimum salary levels is 3,000 rupees and maximum salary level is 20,000 rupees has been increased. We have made this as an essential service. We removed it, but in future we will check whether we can make it an essential service. If so, then we are expecting to make it so. Right now, the Ceylon Transport Board has cancelled all leave. We are taking buses to the main railway stations and will station there for passengers to reach their destination. I find this game an action to let down the government during this election period. We are expecting to include 10 additional buses during this period.
Meanwhile, the chairman of the National Election Commission, Mahinda Deshapriya, made the following remarks with regard to the train strikes.
Some people question us as to why we can't stop these strikes and protests as the Election Commission. We cannot do that. Only the Ministry can do that. If anyone from the Election Commission has any demands and they start a strike, then I can take action. How can we interfere in the railway strike? Even prior to last year, there was a postal strike. So we came to a discussion with the postal trade unions and the postmasters. We asked them to carry out the strike without disrupting the elections. I think personally that by the 1st of October, this problem will come to an end and that there will be no problems anymore.
Attorney General Dappula de Oliveira, speaking at the Supreme Court, said that IGP Pujit Jayasundara, who is on compulsory leave, and former Defence Secretary Hemasri Fernando can never be forgiven for the massive loss of lives caused in the April 21st attacks, which might have been prevented if not for the lackadaisical attitude and inaction displayed towards the critical intelligence presented to them by the National Intelligence Services.
The Attorney General made this argument as the case filed against the former Defence Secretary and the IGP was taken up for consideration today. The Supreme Court decided to postpone the decision on whether it would provide leave to proceed or not to a later date. In his statement, the Attorney General added it was to the detriment of the nation that an IGP, who is responsible for 90,000 officers and was handed the sacred duty of ensuring the public safety, had become nothing but a courier who would simply receive and forward documents. AG Dappula de Oliveira argued that there was reasonable suspicion that the IGP was conspiring with Zaharan Hashim, considering the fact that he did not properly investigate the incidents in Mavanella, Kathankudi and Vanathavilluwa that preceded the April 21st attacks. The 3-hour submission made by the AG saw him describing in great detail his allegation that Pujit Jayasundara and Hemasri Fernando had absconded their duties, resulting in not just the loss of hundreds of lives and also the life-altering injuries of many others, but additionally infringed on the fundamental rights of every Sri Lankan. He demanded the highest sentencing possible for what he described as a serious act of crime.
Still continuing in our local news, the case filed against Gotabaya Rajapaksa pertaining to his involvement in politics in Sri Lanka while being a US citizen was heard by Colombo magistrate Lanka Jayaratna today.
The judge ordered the CID to obtain information from the Hambantota Additional Election Commissioner and the Controller General of Immigration with reference to the case. The judge made the order following submissions made by the CID into the progress of investigations concerning Mr. Rajapaksa's alleged involvement in his brother Mahinda Rajapaksa's presidential campaign in 2005 while on tourist visa in Sri Lanka. CID further revealed to court today that according to the Immigration Department, it was the Defence Ministry that obtained the dual citizenship for Gotabaya Rajapaksa. However, the CID went on to inform the magistrate court that investigations have revealed that the Defence Ministry has no documentation to substantiate this claim.
Media spokesperson of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party, Veerakumara Dissanayake, commented on the talks between the SLPP and the SLFP during a media briefing held at the party headquarters today.
The main point that has crossed up during talks between the SLFP and SLPP is on what basis the party must unify. The SLFP has requested for the symbol to be changed. This is the current situation. We have decided on to convene the Central Working Committee of the SLFP on the 30th at 7:30 p.m. and the meeting will be held at the official residence of the President. We intend to arrive at several decisions and if needed be, we will convene more Central Working Committee meetings and hold further discussions on the coming days. Views on the SLFP's stance on abolishing executive presidency were also expressed during the media briefing. The SLFP will abstain from holding discussions regarding the abolishing of the executive presidency. Throughout the last 5 years, the SLFP was ready to abolish it, but there was no support from neither the parliament or any other party. Therefore, the SLFP will not be concerned regarding this matter from now on.
SLFP MP Nishantha Muthuwetigama convened a media briefing today at Galle.
We have decided to walk towards the victory of Gotabaya Rajapaksa along with the support of the SLFP. We are going to decide on our parliamentary group tomorrow and the Central Working Committee on Monday along with President Maithripala Sirisena, Party General Secretary Dayasri Jayasekara and with other party members. We are hoping to come to an agreement with SLFP and SLPP within the next week.
The Jatika Jana Balawege conference was held in Warakapalli yesterday under the auspices of JVP Propaganda Secretary Tilwin Silva.
ජනතා විමුක්ති පෙරමුණ අපි අවුරුදු 20කට පස්සේ ජනාධිපතිවරණට අපේ අපේක්ෂකයෙක් එක්ක අපි ඇවිල්ලා.
After 20 years, the JVP has come forward with our own presidential candidate. If you are wishing for a change in the system, if you believe the current system has to change, then we have a promising candidate to make this change. This time we have come forward not as Janata Vimukti Peramuna, but as the National People's Power, along with so many other parties. This National People's Power is formed with people who have equal rights and equal responsibility. This is not like Mahinda Rajapaksa's party or like the United National Party, where so many minor parties have joined them. We have formed an alliance where everyone will have equal responsibilities, opportunities and involvements, where everyone will protect the unity of the party. We have come forward for this election with this new example to the country. Now think, if our country needs a change, our country needs a major change. Why? Because the ongoing system is not good for anyone.
The 60th commemoration of late Prime Minister SWRD Bandaranaike was held at the Bandaranaike Samadhiya in Horokolla today.
The commemoration was held under the auspices of the chairman of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party, President Maithripala Sirisena. Former President Chandrika Bandaranaike Kumaratunga, Sunithra Bandaranaike and relatives attended the commemoration. Later Prime Minister Sirimawa Bandaranaike and former Speaker Anura Bandaranaike were also commemorated at this event. Following religious observances, former President Chandrika Bandaranaike Kumaratunga and Sunithra Bandaranaike paid floral tributes to the Samadhi, followed by President Sirisena. Dry rations and wheelchairs for the disabled were also distributed during the event.
The Bar Association of Sri Lanka issued a communique with regard to the alleged telephone conversation of former Director General of the Bribery Commission.
The Bar Association of Sri Lanka notes that if the telephone conversation is established to be authentic and accurate, it would raise serious concerns regarding the public confidence in respect of the legal system. It adds that such concerns would include the questionability of some prosecutions instituted by the Siabok. The release says that the content of the aforesaid conversation raises serious concerns relating to the independence and impartiality of some investigations and prosecutions during her tenure of office. The Bar Association of Sri Lanka called on the relevant authorities to take immediate measures to investigate the allegations raised against the former Director General. The release went on to note that, quote, if these allegations are proven to be incorrect and the contents of the audio recording are established to be inaccurate and not authentic, strong action should be taken against the person who released this audio to the public domain, end quote.
Sri Lanka Life Savings, in collaboration with the Life Saving Victoria, together with the Australian High Commission in Sri Lanka, organised an event in Colombo today.
The event was organised to announce that the International Life Saving Federation had selected Sri Lanka as the host of the World Conference on Drowning Prevention 2021. The event was attended by the High Commissioner for Australia in Sri Lanka, David Hawley, the Minister of Public Administration and Disaster Management, Ranjit Madhum Bandara, Minister of Sports, Harin Fernando, and several other dignitaries.
The main show today is really to congratulate Sri Lanka on the 2021 World Conference on Drowning Prevention. A fantastic landmark, and as Meevan has indicated, some fantastic achievements that have been achieved in this country. Not only is you're looking to have more of Sri Lankans engaged in the prevention of drowning for their own population, but to be able to cope with an influx of tourists who are coming in and enjoying your beaches, and to be also moving on and ensuring that this doesn't become an issue that is beyond well, more tragedy that we have. I mean, 800 deaths a year.
The ILS, the International Life Saving, selects the hosts on a range of requirements. The quality of the bid application, accessibility, transport, accessibility for those that are mobility impaired, affordability.
In news overseas, Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince said he bears responsibility for the killing of journalist Jamal Khashoggi last year by Saudi operatives, quote-unquote, because it happened under my watch.
Mohammed bin Salman, the kingdom's de facto ruler, has not spoken publicly about the killing inside the Saudi consulate in Istanbul. The CIA and some Western governments have said he ordered it, but Saudi officials say he had no role. According to a preview of a documentary, the prince said, and I quote, "It happened under my watch. I get all the responsibility because it happened under my watch," end quote. Asked how the killing could have happened without him knowing about it, Prince Mohammed was quoted saying, quote, "We have 20 million people. We have 3 million government employees," end quote. When questioned whether the killers could have taken private government jets, to which the Crown Prince responded, quote, "I have officials, ministers to follow things, and they are responsible. They have the authority to do that," end quote. Earlier this month, a Turkish newspaper released transcripts of an audio recording of Khashoggi's final moments. The recordings were obtained by Turkey's national intelligence and detailed the conversation between the Saudi journalist and members of a 15-man hit squad moments before his assassination. In the 10th minute before he was killed, a senior Saudi intelligence officer and a bodyguard of Prince Mohammed asked Khashoggi to leave a message for his son, telling him not to worry if he could not reach the journalist.
And that's the wrap of this edition of Primetime News. For the Newsfirst team, I'm Azra Hassan.
And I'm Sandro Ferdinando. Take care and good night.